I'm envisioning you as like a 19-year-old girl going to Nashville, and let's face it, you were extremely attractive, a very good-looking woman. Were men constantly hitting on you? So, like, they probably looked at you like, "Oh, look at this rube, this 19-year-old girl from Tennessee." Did they try to take advantage of you, not only in business, but sexually as well?
Well, I was 18 when I moved to Nashville. I met my husband the first day I got there. So I had left 2 boyfriends back home thinking the last thing I want in Nashville is a boyfriend. So what's the first
Right.
thing I do? Find one. But I never thought of it. Men flirted with me, but I was a flirt myself. And I never took it wrong because you got to remember, I had 6 brothers and my dad and my uncles, and I love men. There's only been like a couple of uncomfortable moments, but I think anybody would have those. It's just somebody not maybe taking you as serious as you are until you really make them know, "Hey, I'm serious here, knock it off." So I didn't have the same problems. I was sure who I was, and I've often said, even before Steve Harvey said it, I'd said in interviews that I look like a woman, but I think like a man.
There were guys like who in business who would say, "Hey, but this is before you, Dolly Parton, the superstar, like, hey, you want to record for me? Listen, quid pro quo. Come out to dinner with me and let's have a couple of drinks and all this kind of thing."
It
That wasn't your experience?
No, but there was always let me just say this, I never slept with anybody to get ahead, to get
Right.
from point A to point B. If I slept with somebody, it's because I wanted to, not because I was doing it for any reason other than just something, that I wanted to do. But, of course, you get all that, but like I say, I was pretty sharp too. I was
Yeah.
pretty clever and knowing the nature of men and understanding that if I was gonna dress like I dressed and look like I looked, I would have been disappointed if somebody hadn't noticed me or, have paid attention to me.
The whole Dolly look, the whole persona. I find fascinating. You saw the town, whatever they called her back then, the town
Tramp.
tramp or something, the tramp, and you said to yourself, "Wow, that's an outrageous look. I'm going to dress like that." And your grandpa, did he hit you or something because of the way you were dressing? What did he
Well, my
do?
well, my grandpa was just always preaching to me, looking like he would just call me Jezebel, and which I love my
Jezebel.
grandpa. He was great, but he would always say, "Don't you want to go to heaven?" And my famous line is that I would say I would get smacked around just for sassing. I'd say something like, "Yeah, I want to go to heaven, but do I have to look like hell when I get there, or to
Yeah, there's
get
a
there?"
song.
And then you gotta get your, like backhanded or something. But that's natural, though, I think, for kids, because I was pretty outgoing, and I just knew how I was gonna look. Daddy couldn't whip it out of me, mama couldn't talk it out of me, and grandpa couldn't preach it out of me. I was gonna look the way I looked, and I still do, because that's how I felt.
Can I ask you this? How old were you when Dumb Blonde came out?
I was actually, 19 when I recorded that, but I did not write that song. That was written by Curly Putman. It was, Fred Foster at Monument Records, who I was working with at the time. He had him write a song for me, and that was it.
Oh,
Everybody thinks I wrote it. I wish I had, but it
yeah.
does say everything that I feel. Just because I'm blonde, don't think I'm dumb.
Yeah. Just because I'm blonde, don't think I'm dumb. It's such a great song. It's like, okay, give me a break.
This was my first top 10 record. It never
Wow.
went to 1, I don't think. It was in the top 10. But that was my first chart record.
I mean, you must have been on cloud nine. Now you've been on the radio for Puppy Love. You put out Dumb Blonde, and now you're in the top 40. That's pretty incredible.
That's a journey that you go through when you go, but then Dumb Blonde was kinda like the start of my bigger career.